everybody. I'm Erica from Peony and Honey. I'm on Instagram. I'm on everything, TikTok, Pinterest, all of that. I used to be a radio host for almost a decade. And honestly, I developed some chronic health issues. So I left that and became a home blogger. And so now I am doing these projects. And it's been really fun to make the transition from the radio career to kind of the at-home life. And this is like one of my favorite fall couch crafts that we're going to do. I do couch crafts where I can just relax at home and just really enjoy myself. For me, I'm inspired by just creating a beautiful space around me. You know, I feel like for me, when you have health challenges, you really just want to create a space that feels like home and feels like a vacation in your own home. And that's what these little projects do for me. So today we are making a fall floral pumpkin, and you really don't need that many supplies, just the foam pumpkins and then some florals, whatever you choose. I have mine already like set apart in baggies because I'm just like that organized. A drill bit kit. This is from Ryobi. I've got multiple sizes in here because you don't know how thick your stems are going to be. And then a drill, an impact driver would be ideal. This one's from Work Pro Tools and it's pink, so I like it. And yeah, I think we'll get started. I'm going to show you first. This is, if you guys saw on some of the Michaels materials, this is what we're making. It's beautiful and full. All the florals are coming out of the top. I absolutely love how full it is and how this turned out. This would be a great centerpiece for your dining table. On your coffee table, on a shelf somewhere, and you can make different sizes. I have some of the different sizes here. I think they have one more larger one, but it wasn't going to fit on my table, so we're going with these. And I'm going to use this one today to make the floral centerpiece, but if I have time, I will make another one as well. So let's get started. I thank you guys for all showing up. It really means a lot to me. I have such an amazing support system, and it has meant so much to me to like make this transition into this new outlet. I've always been a creative person, and now I'm just being creative in a different way. So it's really fun. So enough about me, and let's get started on this project. So I'm going to take my impact driver, and the first thing I'm going to do is take the regular bit out, and I'm going to start with my largest flowers. I like to do that so I know I have enough room for filler. So I think I'm going to start with one of these big guys here. I do advise that you cut your stems ahead of time. That's a little tip for me. Whenever I'm doing floral crafts, I like to just go ahead and cut the stems with a floral wire snip ahead of time. It just saves me time and helps me be creative because I'm not having to sit there and cut all the different stems. I can just go ahead and start envisioning the project. So that's a little tip for me. Just have your floral stems cut. And I have mine all organized in baggies. So this is like one bunch from Michaels right here. And I just cut all the flower heads off. And I left about 2.5 inches. These foam pumpkins are quite easy to drill through, but they're hollow inside. So what's nice is when you stick the floral stem in, it can go kind of deep. So you can do 2 to 3 inches on it. The best part is about this project is that you can actually reuse this pumpkin year after year and just take out the floral stems. If Michaels has new florals out in a new color that you like, just go ahead and use those. Take out the old stems. We're not gluing anything. So this is all removable. So let me start with my biggest one. I've already got my drill bit out. I'm going to take the flower out and see the width here. If you want to show on the overhead, this is the width. I'm going to take my drill bit kit and I'm kind of going to match up the whole size. So I think the second one here, I can dip into my other drill bits if I need it, but I bought this little handy kit so I can have it ready. Stick that in the, you know, I don't have one of those magnetic things, but it's fine. We do like lazy DIYs over here. Like my husband and I are very keen on the whatever works DIY method. And this works quite nicely. You want to make sure it's on the drill side. And I'm going to turn the torque down. It doesn't have to be very high torque. So all you're gonna do is, I like to start on the top of my pumpkin. We are creating the centerpiece one where it looks like the flowers are coming out of the pumpkin. So that's what I'm gonna do on this one. So time to use our power tools and drill. So all you wanna do is just go ahead and line up where you wanna drill your first hole and just let it gently go in, switch it to pull it out. It's gonna leave a little crumbs, that's okay, we can clean that up later. Set your drill to the side and then just push your stem through. And see, like if I needed to remove it, if I made a mistake, or if I wanted to change it to a different flower, it removes just like that. But it stays in, so it's not gonna like fall anywhere. So I said I'm starting with my biggest flowers, so I will grab another large flower from my pile here. Does anyone have any questions so far on just, you know, how you drill into the pumpkin or anything like that? I'm gonna make another hole opposite the other one and make sure my drill's going in the right direction.
There are no questions in the chat so far. So if just so that's a reminder, if anybody has any questions, just put them in the chat and
I'm either explaining it really well or you guys are just very shy, which is fine either way. So here's my second large flower in there. And then I'm gonna rotate to the other side. The biggest thing I do on repeat is I constantly am turning the pumpkin. That way you don't have like all your pretty florals like based on the front of your pumpkin, and it can kind of, you know, work as a piece all around. You know, say you're putting it in the middle of your dining table, you want everyone to have a pretty view of all the flowers. So let me grab another one out of there. This one's quite skinny. So you can see the stem's quite skinny. Actually, the stem is split on this one. So let me grab one that's not.
So we do have a couple questions now. Can you use something other than a drill?
Honestly, you probably could get away with a screwdriver with a Phillips head tip, you know, like the one with the 4 stars, and a hammer and just tap a hole through. The only reason why I don't do that is because it can be kind of stabby and you don't want to hurt yourself. I promise you, this order if you're a woman who has never used a power tool before, order yourself an impact driver and a drill off of Amazon and just put a bit in it and just try using it on some wood. I promise you, they're way less scary than you think they are. I hadn't picked up a tool like before last year at all. And now, I mean, I'm comfortable using almost anything. So I promise you, this is like a great place to start. And they're very inexpensive. You can get one of these for like 20 bucks. And a bit kit is like 10 bucks. So yes, technically you can just by puncturing a hole with maybe like a hammer and a screwdriver. This at least gives you the precision to size it according to your stem, which will hold it in there a little bit better. So yeah, technically you could get away with it, but I would advise that you use a drill if you can.
Okay, and what size was that drill bit?
Actually, these aren't even labeled, but this is what I do here. So when you get a drill bit kit, this one doesn't have the markings on it, but let me show you this one. This is my clearly used one. It has all the measurements on there. They are not in the right order. So y'all don't judge me for that. But you know how it is, the DIY, you're just like, I'll just throw it in there and get it later. They are all marked. So if you hold up one of your stems, like here, I'm going to use this one for this next stem. If you can show the overhead, see how they're kind of the same size. The drill bit might be slightly larger and that's okay. You can get away with using this bit for probably a lot of the skinnier stems. I just do like the hold up method, but if you really needed to know what the sizes were when you get your drill bit kit, usually when they're like this and they're the magnetic and they go inside like that, they're marked on the side and then they're marked in the container. So hopefully that's helpful. Sorry that I don't have the exact measurement on the black ones, but I'm going to switch it out for the smaller one now.
And we have another question. Do you ever use glue?
Okay, yes. So this is, in the past, I have always done my floral projects with hot glue. I actually used hot glue the other day. So if you see some boo-boos on my hand, that is why, because I always burn myself when I do hot glue projects. I still do hot glue a lot, but why I'm using the drill on this is because you can reuse this. So next year I say, you know what, I'm done with the all white theme. You know, I want to do all red and blush. Well, I just take these stems out and stick some blush and red in there. So that's the beauty of that. But if you know for a fact you want to keep the same color scheme for a long time, yes, you can absolutely use hot glue. And the foam pumpkins, the craft foam pumpkins from Michaels, hot glue adheres the florals really well to them. The only thing you'll want to do is just make sure that you cut down the stem right above the little nubbin here so that you can get it flush against the pumpkin. So let's go ahead and add another one on. Hopefully that answers your question. I love it. I love sitting here using a power drill in a dress. Like, that's me. All right, so let's stick this guy in here. I think I'm gonna do like one more larger one. So let me grab one of my other stems. Actually, I'll probably just do two of that same one so I can use the same drill that I had on. Work smarter, not harder, you know? All right, now I'm gonna do another one. Like I said, I'm trying to vary where I put my holes and where I put my flowers because we're gonna build around this. I don't want all the same flowers to be next to each other. All right, that looks like a good start to me for the main florals. So my next one, these are pretty large. I love these. This is what's gonna add movement to your pumpkin. You can show the overhead in a second here. Look at these beautiful floppy flowers. Honestly, there's a name for it. And if you know it, moderator, please let me know, but I don't know offhand, but I love these. They give a nice movement. Like when you put it on the pumpkin, it has like some flow to it. I always love that. And then it makes it look even more like the florals are spilling out of the pumpkin. So let me get the right size bit to put on these. This one looks like I cut the bit.
Those might be wisteria, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong.
You know what? That sounds right. That sounds right. We'll go with that. I'm sure there's some flower experts watching this that are like beating their heads against the wall that we said the wrong thing, but you know.
Yes.
You know what? Whenever I go to the florist, I'm just like, whatever you think. I don't know. I don't know what anything's called. Whatever looks wild and pretty, they always deliver. So I actually need to up the size of my drill bit on this one. So I'm going to swap this out. It does help too, like if you want to just keep a couple of them that you're using regularly out. Of course, I already lost one. Nope, there it is. If you want to use, like, keep a couple of them out, then you can switch back and forth pretty easily. So here I'm just lining up. I think this one will work. I've changed my drill out, or my bit out for my drill.
Do you ever map out your pumpkin with pencil marks before you drill, or do you just go for it?
In theory, a very organized DIYer would do that. I'm more of like just make it as I go. The beauty of florals, working with florals, especially Michaels florals, I will say this, you can kind of start from scratch and their flowers look so realistic and they flow so nicely and they have such movement that you can kind of add it as you go. You don't necessarily have to have it fully planned out, which is why I'm glad we're doing this live, because people are always like, how'd you make that? I'm like, well, I just started by putting some flowers on, then I put some more flowers on until I liked it, you know. But I think the basic principle is always start with the largest flowers first, and then you can always add your little accents in. So let me add some of these big boys, and I'm going to drill more towards the top of the pumpkin because these guys flow quite a bit out. Oops. We're making a mess today. It's fine. And you really, what the beauty is, if you pick out the right drill bit, you don't really have to force it in. You shouldn't have to force it in too much. See how pretty that is? The movement we have going there as I'm flopping it every which direction. I'm going to do that exact same thing on the top on the other side. I'm just going to fill this in. There we have another one. And I'm going to grab 2 more. I'm going to do an even 4 to match the other ones. You don't have to go in even numbers, but I have OCD. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I sort of do when it comes to crafts. I need to make sure that everything is perfect all the time. Sometimes that's a problem when you're a DIYer, because sometimes you just have to accept that not everything is going to come out perfect every single time. And the beauty is I can still use the same drill bit because I'm adding more of the same flower on at a time. By the way, these foam pumpkins are priced really well. And especially since Michael's always has coupons, I highly recommend these. You can paint them, by the way. So if you don't necessarily love the color, I'm loving like neutrals for fall right now. As you can tell, my living room is like very creamy toned with a little bit of moodiness. That's kind of what I wanted to achieve with this pumpkin. This one, I definitely wanted to do like a little bit of like sage and some blushy tones, but this one I want to keep a little bit more neutral. But yeah, in the past, I painted these like pink or blue. Let's drill another hole towards the top and add our 4th. We're going to say it's wisteria stem on there. And just make sure you shove it as far down as it'll go so it holds in there nicely. We lost a flower, that's okay. Okay, I'm going to set this aside for a second just so I can show you guys. You want to show the top view? Look at all that movement. Isn't that so pretty? Oh my gosh, if you were getting married in the fall, beautiful centerpiece. You could even add like some of those wire lights, the battery operated lights in there. How pretty would that be? Okay, so now that we've done those, I'm gonna set aside the large flowers that I've already used. And let's get funky with it. This is where we get to have a little creative liberty. I've got a whole bunch of different greenery pieces and smaller florals that we're going to add in. So now that we have our big florals on, super easy to just add on our extra bits, as I like to call them. I think I'm going to go with these guys next. Let me show you what these look like. I only have a few of them, but they have some varying heights. I love that. I love having varying heights in the florals. So it looks like you can see here, this stem here, I didn't trim off. Just got a fuzzy. I'm going to just trim off. By the way, you guys, make the mess and just clean it up after. My husband always comes out here and sees that it's like a tornado in my living room. And then all I do is just grab the vacuum and just make it go away. But I'm like a messy DIYer. I don't really clean as I go. I just leave the mess on the floor. I think I can, well, I'm probably going to use one smaller drill bit for this one. Yeah, one smaller. That's the, honestly, you guys, the hardest part of this entire project is just switching out the drill bits constantly. Now, if you had multiple drills, you could have drill bits already in, but you know, who has that? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just randomly stick some of these in here. And I'm adding some height here. This is going to create a more natural look, like real flowers, like you just got cut fresh from the store. You know what I do? I don't have any, but I do have some faux dried florals here from Michael's, but they do have a beautiful selection of dried florals in their stores. Those would be really pretty to add to fall pumpkins, just saying. I just don't happen to have any here, but I have used them in the past. Drilled another hole, adding another guy for some more height. That's so pretty. I'm saying that like it's a rhetorical question. I can't see the chat, you guys, so just know that I love you and I appreciate you for being here, and I hope that you love this project as much as I do. This is one of my favorite things to make for fall, honestly. All right, so I'm gonna drill another hole here. And add another stem. I don't know why I keep doing groups of 4. I don't think it's intentional. It's just, you can kind of see as you're going what areas need to be filled a little bit more. And like I said, keep spinning your pumpkin and you'll make sure that all sides look great from all angles. I'm gonna add, I've got a couple of like smaller versions of those. I'm gonna add those in as well. So let me find a good spot, like right here seems pretty good. I will turn it on its side for you guys in a second too, just so you can see. I know sometimes that like over the top view is not always ideal. So here's a side view. And I'm just pressing it in. It's really easy.
It is looking very pretty.
Thank you. You guys get the like neutral kind of motif I got going, because I've been telling myself that I'm trying to live with less by the end of the year. And that has kind of transformed my decor into more simple, neutral things. I would have just like one of these pumpkins in my house, maybe 1 or 2, and just have it be like just a small feature of fall decor. I don't have to go crazy with fall decor in my house. I could set a couple of these out and they really set the tone, like, okay, it's fall here, you know? I'm trying to think if I want to maybe add one more. Yeah, I'm going to add one more tall guy towards the middle here. Now I'm obviously sticking mostly to the top of the pumpkin because like I said, I want it to look like all these florals are coming out of the pumpkin. See, I mean, honestly, you could just leave it like that, but we're bougie, we're extra, so we're gonna add a lot more. So I'm gonna switch out my drill bit because I know I'm going to be adding much more. Let's see, and the ones I have now are all pretty skinny. These are really cute. You guys see these stems? Tell me that does not look real. So cute. So I'm going to find a smaller skinny guy. I kind of didn't put that centered. If I was just here by myself, you guys, I would be so haphazardly doing this, but I'm being all like one floral at a time, very gently for you guys, because I just want to make sure that I show you how to do it. So I'm going to put one towards the side here, and I'll add some towards the top too. But I'm just going to add all these in.
So did all those small ones, I'm sorry. So did all those small ones come together on a bush and then you just clipped them all off?
Yep. So everything that you guys see here all came as bushes. And all I did was just take, these are fabric scissors that I just grabbed just in case I need them really quick, but I do have floral snips from Michael's that I usually use for the thicker stems, but I think my scissors will cut these guys if I need them to be smaller. The nice thing is if you add a little bit on the stem, if you leave a little bit, like maybe 3-4 inches or so, you can get some height out of it. But it's up to you, and I would just vary the lengths, honestly. Okay, this one. We got, sometimes these come with like the paper on them and that can unravel a little bit, not a problem. All I'm gonna do is just tear it off so it doesn't get in the way. And you can cut it too with scissors. I just wanna make sure that it goes all the way into my hole that I've created here. Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna cut this one just to make sure that I don't have that same problem. And once again, I'm just rotating around the pumpkin. You might have to move some of the florals out of the way to drill more holes. Totally fine. They should be pretty snug in there, so you shouldn't have a problem. There's another one. And honestly, you may not be able to tell immediately that you're adding more of the florals in, but I promise you, like as you keep adding, it's just going to create a fullness You may not see each individual floral on here, but I promise you it's adding a lot of depth. So let me show you guys, I'm just adding another hole in here. We love a drill that has a light on it, especially when I'm doing craft projects on the couch at night. Oh my gosh. My husband's like, give it a rest already. And I'm like, I gotta finish this. Okay, I'm gonna add a bunch more. So you guys just bear with me. I'm going to just drill a few holes and stick them in at once, but we're just doing the same flowers. And like I said, all I'm doing is working my way around the pumpkin, adding as I go. Add a few more. You notice, you guys, I don't have any leaves on here yet. I like to trim all the leaves off because what ends up happening is they kind of get in the way of adding the larger florals on. So I don't always put the leaves on until the very end. And honestly, sometimes I don't put leaves on at all. I just take a look and see if I like it where it's at or not. You guys see how easy it drills through the pumpkin? Like so easy. Oops, this one's got a little extra paper, so I'm just gonna cut it. I'm glad I brought my scissors over here. Always have a pair of sharp scissors nearby. Pro tip. When you're opening packages, you know, just in general. We probably have like 8,000 pairs of scissors in this house, and we can only find one at a time. But I do try to keep one pair of sharp scissors. By the way, you guys, I just wanted to say, this has been really fun crafting for Michael's this year. I don't know if you guys have seen my signs in the stores, but it's literally on the box for these craft pumpkins at a lot of the stores. And that's been so fun and rewarding, you guys. A lot of times we do these DIY projects and we'll get some feedback from people on our social platforms, but it's amazing to hear from brands and have brands appreciate your work. And Michael's has just been such a great supporter of crafters and DIYers. It's just been amazing, honestly, working with them. So I just wanted to say that so I don't forget. Let me add a few more on here. Did anyone have any questions right now, or are we good?
Yes, so when you go back and add the leaves, do you just, if those aren't on a stem, is that when you go back and just use glue? Or how do you go back and add your leaves?
I have used glue in the past. These, you can tell they're on a bit of a stem, some of the leaves that I have. So I might just use the stems on that. I'm really trying not to put any glue on this so that I can take all these flowers out next year and make a brand new one. In fact, if you're following me on Instagram, Peony and Honey, next year, you're probably going to see this exact same pumpkin with different flowers in it and all different flowers. So it'll be cool to just be able to remove everything, keep this in storage in a bin in my garage, pull it out, go to Michael's, see what their latest florals are. Who knows, next year, I might be really into all black everything. I don't know. So at least I have the liberty to change it out. But yes, if you wanted to glue some leaves in there, you definitely could. I like to try to look for the ones that still have some stems on them. I'm going to add a couple more of these and then we'll switch to another flower. Can you see, you guys, how it's like building up in its volume? That's what we want. I don't know if you guys saw that photo of me holding this pumpkin, but do you see how full this looks? That's what we're aiming for on this one. And we're getting there, but we're not quite there yet. All right, a couple more, maybe one on the top here. Because I kind of want to cover the stem. Oops, is that not tightened down? There we go. There we are. Add this guy in here, and then I think I'm going to move on to some other flowers. Okay, those are super pretty though, you guys. These are some of my favorites that I've seen this year. And on the stems, they look absolutely gorgeous. All right. How about some faux, like almost baby's breath style?
Okay, and we do have a question. What flower types or what type florals did you use on that romantic bouquet pumpkin that you showed a second ago?
This one, these are all Michael's Florals, and the best part is they linked almost all of these on their website on the class sign up. So if you guys still have that link, you can actually click on all of those and order these florals. But there's roses. I have the same sort of wisteria in pink. What I try to do is just look for pick a color scheme and sort of stick to that. But yes, these are all Michael's Florals, and they have almost all of them linked on their website under my class. Is that a good answer to that question? Hopefully.
Yeah. Yes, if you could maybe hold that one straight up to the camera one more time.
Yeah.
Sorry. To the overhead. If you can pull it slightly more into the frame. There we go. That's a great close-up. Thank you.
Yes, of course. She's a beauty. Gotta tell ya. Love this one. Hopefully you guys say the same thing about this one when I'm done with it. All right, I've got these stems, which are so pretty. You guys, this is gonna add so much more movement on here. And that's what I'm going for, is just tons of movement, tons of texture. You will have to start digging a little bit to find some space on the pumpkin to drill a hole, but just separate it with your fingers and you should be fine. Let me see if this guy will fit in here. Yep. Perfect. See that? Ooh, it's so cute. Okay, I need to stop using my at-home DIY voice. That's something I'd be like, oh, so cute. But I need to tone it down, Erica. Don't weird people out. You don't want to do that.
I agree, though. I think those little filler pieces add so much.
That's honestly, that's what I tell people whenever I'm doing any floral craft. The secret sauce is in the filler florals. I'm telling you, you could have the most beautiful large florals and it'll look like it's missing something. This is what you're missing, the filler florals. And see, look at that, just on the side here, it's sort of flowing out. I love that. That's gonna make it look more wild. That's gonna make it look more real. I'm telling you, you put this centerpiece on a table for like, you know, a brunch, a wedding, Thanksgiving dinner, people are gonna be like, where did you get that? And when you tell them you made it, they're gonna be like, oh my God, how'd you make that? You can tell them, or you can just keep it a secret, you know? I like to share. I like to share what I do. The biggest compliment to me as a DIYer is when people make my projects. It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling that you make something that someone else wants to recreate. I love that. Honestly, that's the best part of this job, truly. When somebody says, oh, I tried that and mine came out just like yours, or so beautiful, I just get so excited. By the way, if any of my friends are watching this, I love you guys and I appreciate you for showing up. I am a part of a very large DIY home decor crafters community made up of some of the kindest people. I have made so many friends being a DIYer and crafter, just like-minded people that love pretty things. And it has just really empowered me in so many ways. Not to get all sentimental, but I really have a good group of DIY friends, and I'm always open to meeting more. So you guys, if you have any questions after the class, or you literally just want to connect with me, send me a DM on Instagram, Peony and Honey. I promise you I will answer your questions and I will get back to every single person that messages me. That is a huge priority for me as a DIY and home content creator, is just connecting with you guys. It's not a job, it's a joy. I love it. I love getting to chat with people from all over the place. Where's everybody from? Is there anyone from somewhere really far? I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. Anybody out of the country? That'd be pretty cool. Maybe up past your bedtime because you're on a different time zone. That'd be pretty fun. Let me add some more towards the top. Can you guys see how much movement this is adding to the bouquet or to the pumpkin? It looks like a bouquet.
Yes, that looks very nice. So we have North Carolina, Los Angeles, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Maryland, another Los Angeles, Mississippi, Michigan, Florida.
Wow. This is cool.
Georgia, El Paso.
We all over the place. Us
Yeah.
crafters are everywhere.
Denver, Arkansas, Nebraska.
I wonder, maybe you guys can tell us in the chat, like, does this seem like a doable project for you guys? Or has this been, do you think you could recreate this? That's my question is, or do you have any other questions that I can help you maybe to recreate this at home?
I think so. We did get a comment in the chat earlier that they were just watching now and then they're going to go pick up their supplies and make it later.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys, I would love it too. If you make a floral pumpkin, send me a picture on Instagram. I would love to feature it on my page. That would be amazing. I would love to see what you guys make, all the different colors you guys come up with. There are so many pretty flowers at Michael's right now. I was just there the other day and it was hard. I actually did grab a couple extra ones. It was hard not to pick out some more things for this class because I just love everything they have this year. They added so many pretty, there's a lot of this beautiful sage color this year. Love this sage color. Huge fan of that. I didn't use it on this one, but you can kind of see it a little bit in these stems. I'm gonna add a couple more of these and then I'm gonna move on to something else.
And we are getting a lot more comments that, yes, they love this. They're now thinking of all kinds of possibilities. Definitely doable. There's one, they're gonna incorporate this technique with their front door. And yeah, that's a great idea.
Really, truly, that's the beauty of this project. The possibilities are truly endless. Whatever flowers you're into, what florals you like, it's up to you, you know? Not everybody's gonna like sort of this wild look. Some people might like just straight roses or something. It's really personalized to you, especially if you've got like, you know, a baby shower or a wedding or a Thanksgiving dinner that you're preparing for. Go with whatever color scheme you got going on for that, or go to Michael's if you don't have a color scheme yet, and let their floral wall kind of inspire your color palette for your, you know, whatever your party's decor is. I mean, I'm not throwing a party, I'm just literally putting this in my house, but it just makes me happy to look at these. When I walk downstairs and I see my house all decked out for fall and these pumpkins are a part of it, it just makes me so happy. By the way, another reason why I'm not hot gluing. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Judy has an idea to add pearls to it.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. Especially, you could even, if you wanted to, you could like hot glue them sort of like along the sides, sort of in a scallop pattern. How pretty would that be? Love that idea. All right, one more, and then I'm going to move on to a different floral.
And we did have a question. Can you put too many flowers?
My answer to that is absolutely not. It's really up to you. You will find it a little bit more difficult as you keep going to add more florals in because there's not a lot of room for your fingers to separate the flowers at, but I don't think there's too many, you know. This is one of their larger size pumpkins. They have one larger than this. I just like the rounded shape of this better for a centerpiece. But there's a taller one that's more like narrow. You know, you could add a ton of flowers to that one because it's nice and tall. All right, let me stick these back in the baggie and then I'll move on. Look at me cleaning my workstation slightly. My husband's like, I've never seen it.
We have another question. How when or how do you cover up the stem of the pumpkin?
Here's the thing, as you keep adding, it naturally covers itself. So if you wanted to, you could definitely like put a flower directly over it. I'm just sort of leaving it because unless you're like looking over top of it, I am still adding more flowers in. You're not really gonna notice it. But if you wanted to, you could literally, the stem, by the way, is also foam. So you guys can drill right into the stem too. Let's see what I want to do here.
Is that the 6 or the 9 pumpkin?
This one's the 9. This is the 9.
Thank you.
I think I'm trying to debate with myself right now whether I'm going to add some more movement. Maybe we'll take a vote and you can tell me who in the chat is what they're voting for. We have these. Let me open them and show you. These green stems, or we can start adding, oops, not those. We can start adding some of these oversized leaves in. What do you guys think? Option 1 or option 2? You can't go wrong. That's the beauty of it. See what people vote. There's this. See, we could do something like that. Or we could just start adding these in.
It's hard to keep track, but it looks like the majority is option 1.
Option 1. Okay. Easy peasy. If you voted option 2, it's all right. I can switch them out later if I wanted to, you know. So let me go ahead and we'll start working towards the stem area. You know, you can always go back. I'm gonna need to switch my drill bit because that's a little too big. You can always go back and add more of your larger flowers at the end. Honestly, I don't even think about the stem until the end because I just want to see what my flowers are going to cover first. Let me add a hole here. See, I'm drilling in the stem right now, so you can definitely drill through there. By the way, it does leave this little dust. When you're done making your pumpkin, just take it outside and just kind of shake it a little bit to get some of that dust out, or over your garbage can or something like that. Add a few more here. By the way, big shout out to my husband who helped me set everything up today. And also he deals with my crazy DIYer self all the time. There's always a craft project going on in this house, always a room redecorating, always brand new pillows, and he's a saint. See, this adds a little richness. I'm liking this. This is adding more fall tones, these pieces. So good call, whoever voted for option 1. Although option 2 would have added a darker tone as well. But I'm liking this. You really can't go wrong with all these really textured pieces because it just adds so much movement. And that's what we're going for. We want it to look like it's real flowers spilling out of a vase with water in it.
And if it's possible to show, we do have a question on how you would add the leaves.
Oh, sure, no problem. You know what? I will add just a couple of leaves at the end. How about that? And then I'll show you guys how I do them. Because these are like, see, they're obviously like split. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to squeeze it, make a large hole and shove it in there. That sounds so aggressive, but that's kind of what you have to do.
No, that's good. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. We'll add some more towards the end here. I don't think I'm gonna have time to do my other pumpkin, but I do want to show you guys really quick. Let me set this aside for 1 second, you guys. I just want to show you something before I finish it. Here's another pumpkin. Here's 2 different sizes. If you wanted to, you don't necessarily have to do the drilling on the top. You can actually drill the sides of your pumpkin. And then you would have like florals coming out of the side of each pumpkin, which is also a really cute look as well. So I'm just showing you that option because I don't think I'm gonna have time to do an entire other pumpkin unless I was just sitting here silent, not saying anything and just like speed drilling. I don't think I would have time for it. So I just wanna let you guys know that that is an option. I do oftentimes make, like I'm probably gonna have leftover florals from this. I'm probably gonna make a second pumpkin with all the florals coming out of the side. And then those 2 can be a centerpiece on a table. I'm planning on putting this one on my coffee table. That's why you're seeing like the 2 levels. I actually built these coffee tables, you guys, and I had to be extra and have 2 different levels of coffee tables, but it's not the most practical thing, but it is beautiful. So that's why there's 2 levels on that. But I'll probably put this one on this coffee table here and then just stack some books on the other coffee table and maybe some candles. Super pretty. You guys go to my Instagram too. I do have some photos of how I styled the pumpkin, how I styled the pink one for the Michaels campaign. And then I can show you in a couple of days. I will post, actually maybe tomorrow, I will post this pumpkin all styled in the room so you guys can see it. So make sure if you're not already, go follow me on Instagram, Peony and Honey. I'm also on TikTok too. I don't know about you guys, but I'm loving TikTok for crafts and room makeovers because it's so fun to show people the before and afters of everything. It's really fun for a DIYer to showcase our work on a platform like that to like really fun music. I enjoy it a lot. Michael's is on TikTok too, so they're hip, they're with it. I feel weird being a 33-year-old on TikTok. I don't know if I mentioned that to you guys, but I am 33 years old. I will be 34 October 2nd. Shout out to my Libra people. I don't feel 34 though. Like I just saw my parents who went on family vacation and I was looking at my mom and I'm like, when did I become like a full-fledged adult? Because I don't feel that yet. Hopefully I will at some point because I do have adult responsibilities, but just don't feel like an adult yet. Can you guys see how it's adding, like it's filling in here? That's what we want to do is we just want to fill in all the gaps. And honestly, you guys, I could probably go with this forever. I could sit here and add 5,000 pieces on if I had an unlimited amount of time. Which usually when I'm doing these crafts, I'm such a perfectionist. If I see any hole anywhere, I'm adding more flowers to it. Actually,
we have a question. Do you have the product list for this pumpkin that you're making?
I should have written it down, but you know what, you guys, I can find them for you, and I will put them on my Instagram page, and I'll send them over to Michael's too if they want to add that to this video. I can definitely find them. These are regulars for their fall season. Like I'm pretty sure I could walk into the store right now and grab all of these again. So I will do that, and I will get all the product numbers in case you guys want to make this exact pumpkin or something very similar. Sorry about that, you guys. That would have been a smart thing to do, and I forgot. You know what happens? You just go into Michael's, you get all excited, and you see the flower aisle, and you just forget to do the things that are important. Is there another question?
Yes. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
That's okay.
There's a question going back to when you add the flowers to the sides of the pumpkin. Do you have the stems showing, or do you push them all the way in?
So for the longer ones, I'm pushing them all the way in as far as I can push them. But some of the shorter ones, I'm just pushing it in till it sticks. You won't see it because all the florals are covering each other. So if you can't push it any further and you see a bit of the stem, don't worry about it because you're not going to really be able to tell. Like, I don't know if you can tell overhead, but you really can't see when you're just looking at it straight on, you can't see much of any of the stems.
So you have inspired Karen. She said, I have never bought faux floral before. None of the projects ever appealed to me, but I'm definitely making this one in the next week or so.
Oh my God, bless your heart. That just makes me so happy, you guys. You don't understand. Like, I do this for you guys. Truly, I love doing it myself, but there's nothing that gives me greater joy than you guys finding enjoyment and learning how to do something new from me. It's so much fun for me. And I love, like I said, I would love to see any of your projects. So if you guys make a floral pumpkin, just let me know. I would love to see your projects. I'm just gonna add a couple more of these in, and then we're gonna add a couple of those leaves, and I'll show you guys how I do that, since it's kind of one piece that I have to squeeze. By the way, too, if one's not going in, just use one of your drill bits that you haven't used and sort of shove it in. See what I'm doing with this one? I'm just pushing it in with the drill bit. Whatever works, right? You know, that's what I like to say. I'm gonna stick one more here. And then we'll move on to some leaves. And the leaves, I think I'm going to position towards the bottom of the arrangement. All right, what do you guys think? That looks pretty good, right? Let me add some leaves. Oh, I have some here. So I'm going to need a bigger, so see it right here, if you can show the overhead. This is about as much as I can squeeze it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my largest drill bit here. I'm going to take this off. And I'm going to focus this. I'm going to turn the pumpkin so you guys can see what I'm doing here. I want it to be towards the end of the florals on the bottom here. So I've got my hole and I'm just going to pinch it to the best of my ability and try to force it in. If it's not going in easily, I will just use my little drill bit, which might be able to help me in this instance. Worst case scenario, I can just cut these in half and just cut both holes. We're trial and erroring here. But oh yeah, this is what I did last time. There we go. So let me prop this back up. And then the beauty of these leaves is you can kind of just rotate them to where you need them to be. So I kind of want them like, see, isn't that pretty? Ooh, I'm feeling the moody vibes on this one. Feeling it. So all I did, you guys, was just use an extra drill bit and pushed it in the hole. I swear, you guys, all this sounds so aggressive, but I'm telling you, if I can make this, literally anyone can, because it's really not, it's not too complicated and it doesn't require any muscle strength. You know, I'm really big on, I didn't really mention this before, but I'm big on having projects that I call them couch crafts, because I want people to be able to do these crafts even if you have some disabilities. You know, I have trouble standing for long periods of time, so I do couch crafts. And I love doing projects that are adaptable for people. If you are unable to walk, but you have full use of your hands, you can do this project. You can just pop a squat on the couch. Honestly, you don't even have to do it on a table. You can sit on the couch. Just be careful with your drill. You don't want to, you know, accidentally slip and hurt yourself. But I'm really big on having adaptable crafts that almost everybody that has use of their hands can do. Especially, I know I have a lot of chronic illness followers, and you know, I know what that life is like, and making these projects is a wonderful distraction for any stress or any crazy health issues you might have going on. It's really helpful. How am I doing on time? Do I have time to finish this guy up?
Yes, you do.
Okay, perfect.
We have a question. Do you have any more classes scheduled?
You know what? I would love to do this again. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and my amazing moderators here can tell you that I was very nervous before this, and I'm not going to lie, when I started talking, I was very nervous. Public speaking isn't always my forte, but I would so do this again, because I got to tell you, I'm so relaxed now. Crafting relaxes me, you guys. So yeah, if Michaels wants me to do another one, I'd be happy to do another one sometime, a different project. Or you can go to my Instagram, Peony and Honey. I'm always doing projects there. I also have a YouTube channel, Peony and Honey. I do Cricut crafts on there, and I know you can get a lot of the Cricut supplies at Michael's. I do like super easy DIYs on there. I do room makeovers. I'm just getting more into my YouTube. So if you go to my YouTube channel and there's not 5,000 videos, I apologize for that, but I promise you, I am working on more content for that very soon. So I promise there will be more projects. But yes, I would love to host another class sometime. A gal just needs to be asked, and I will be there. Now that I know that I can totally do this, and you guys are so sweet and kind, which I knew you would be, I feel like I could totally do this again. And honestly, maybe on my Instagram, maybe we'll do some live crafting projects together. I have a yarn project. I got a bunch of yarn from Michael's the other day, and I want to make some cool wall art out of it. So maybe we'll make that alive on my Instagram channel or something. That'd be kind of fun. I think I'm gonna add one more large set of leaves here. And then if I have time, I would love to add one more flower, one more like bunch of flowers if I could. You guys just tell me if I'm going over, because I literally could do this all night long, and I am such a perfectionist. I could keep adding flowers until the sun goes down. That's the beauty of this, you guys. You can stop when you're tired, when you're done, you know, and you can stop in the middle of this project. You guys got something going on. If you're busy, something happens in your house, or you got an appointment to make, stop in the middle of making this, set it aside, and you can pick it back up later. You know, that's the one nice thing about not hot gluing, is you don't have to like reheat the hot glue gun again. You know, you can just get it all done at once. Just make sure I like where this is going. Yeah, I think that's good. And I'm going to quickly, because I know you guys can see the stem from the top, I think I'm just going to add one. What do you guys think? One more floral in there? I think so. Let me stick one more flower at the top just to cover that stem. It's not necessary though. Like I personally don't mind it, because you know it's a pumpkin. So if it has a stem, it's all good. But we are perfectionists around here, so we're going to cover it. And I'm just switching out. You guys notice I just switched out my drill bit again. Of course, my drill is running out of a battery, but I do have a backup one if that one completely dies. There you go, guys. Now it's completely covered with that one there. And I'm just going to kind of pull some of the other florals that I put in up a little bit around it, so it doesn't look so sticking out by itself. All right, if I have time, do I have time to do one more floral in here?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, cool. I know you guys got lives and everything, but I just really think this last one will just really set it off. This is another one of those kind of, I call these all baby's breath, but they're not. I know they're not, but I just always call them that. Here's another one where we're gonna have to shove like 3 stems into one hole, which is totally fine. But I'm just gonna add these in any gaps that I see. This is just gonna add fullness, add a little bit more texture. Texture is the operative word. Let me see if I can make this drill bit work. I might have to go to the other one. That fit in there fine, but I think I need to go up one size just in case. Yeah. After a while, you guys, you'll become such an expert at using this drill and using a drill bit, you will want to drill everything. Trust me, tools are addicting. So are craft supplies. I have a craft room right now in you guys should see on my Instagram page, I have a full craft room with a giant Billy bookcase from IKEA. It's totally full right now. You could definitely not fit anything else in that room because I just keep buying craft supplies. But you know, when you're out and you see a good set of florals, you're like, I just gotta get that. I might use it for something. That's me. That is me to a T. Let's see if I can find another 3 bunch. Here we go. Let me see where I've got a hole anywhere. We're just adding fullness now. Just adding a little bit more. I'm going to put a couple on the side here. I used to make, you guys, these floral frames. Like I would literally take a vintage frame and then I would back it with foam board and then I would hot glue florals across it and make it like backdrops for photos and everything. And I actually used to have like a little cottage business selling those and renting the floral walls that I would make. I made one for my friend's wedding and then we rented it out a couple of times. But this, way easier, way more manageable, and way less messy. I know you have the foam coming out, but with hot glue, you guys know whenever you do a hot glue project, the strings are literally everywhere and it's so hard to avoid that. This is way less mess. You're not in danger of burning your fingers. And honestly, this could be super kid friendly too. If you drilled all the holes and the kids just put the stems in, how fun would that be? A little project in the afternoon with your kids or on a weekend. They would absolutely love this. Kids are, I mean, I have a little niece and she just wants to do everything that I'm doing. So I'm sure she would absolutely love to help me with this. She's a bit young, but we'll get her crafting at some point soon. So I'm just drilling into the side now because I just want to add a couple of other pieces for dimension. And that's a good tip, you guys. If you want your floral arrangement to look really real, as well as very full and textured, vary your florals. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but I think I used like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 or 9 different florals. If all you grab from the store is one stem, like one bunch, you know, that Michael's does a great job. They usually give you like 5 or 6 per bunch. Grab one of each, you know, see a bunch of colors that you like, grab one of each, because this is what makes it so pretty, because it's so varied. You guys hear a camera noise. That's my husband shooting behind the scenes photos. Always be filming, you know, that's our motto over here. Everything is content, you know. All right, I'm gonna add a few more of these on the top. Aren't these really pretty, you guys? These little blushy ones. They're almost like peachy vibes. I really like them. And so since we added all those dark pieces in, this just adds a little bit more light back in. Telling you, if you had like a peachy, blushy, cream toned wedding for fall, this is the ideal thing for fall. My husband and I always joke about we're always like, oh yeah, we're gonna get this for fall. I don't know if anyone thinks that's funny, but we do. It's our little inside joke. He's laughing at me. Let me see if I can find one more spot. Are there any final questions? I don't know if I mentioned, but as far as cleaning these goes, you guys, very hard to dust. My advice would be, oops, I knocked one out of the hole. My advice would be to shake it out outside. Or get like one of those Swiffers or feather dusters and just dust it to the best of your ability. But I mean, obviously you could go as far as to take all the stems out and clean it off that way. But you know, if you just have it for the fall season, you could probably just get away with shaking it outside a little bit. Any other questions before we finish this guy up?
So I don't see any questions, but there's just a lot of good comments with that this is beautiful and that they really enjoyed the demonstration. So it is very beautiful arrangement.
Thank you so much. You guys, I just took out a leaf. Don't judge me. I just realized I had too many. And that's the beauty of it, you guys, is that you can't make a mistake on this. You literally can't. If you drill one too many holes, then cover it with another flower. You know, it's really, oops, I just knocked one out. It's really quite easy. Just make sure that you have them pushed in pretty well. Just so you want to make sure that they don't fall out. I don't think I pushed that one deep enough. You guys are so sweet. Thank you for any kind words in the chat. It really does mean a lot. And I think this one came out really nice. I was a little worried, you guys, that, you know, talking to you guys during this, that I wouldn't be able to make as good of a floral project as I normally do, but I think we accomplished that. So let me clean off this table really quick and I will show you guys the full finished result, because I think we're going to leave it there. I could probably sit here and add 8,000 more flowers, but I'm not going to do that. Sometimes you just need to know when to stop. It's a hard thing to do, but you'll get there. And then, like I said, these are all our little foam pieces. I plan on just running the vacuum over this floor. It vacuums up really easily, you guys. So just letting you know. You can also do this outside. If you don't want to make a mess in your house, or put some plastic down underneath your table, that's fine too. I'm just not that prepared. All right, you guys. Let me set it down here for an over the top view. I'll kind of rotate it here for you guys to see. There's that. And then let me show you from the side. I think we achieved that fullness. You guys tell me. I'm pretty sure we achieved the fullness of the other one. And all we did was just add layer upon layer. And that's how you get there. Start with your biggest florals first, and then add in all your extras. And then here, let's compare them. So here's both. Here's the original one. Here's the one we made tonight. I'm not gonna lie, I love the height that we achieved on this one with some of the more random stems. You guys tell me, but I'm pretty sure this one just has a little bit more movement to it than this one, and I really like it. But I think that should do it for me. Unless there's any other questions or anybody has any last thoughts, you guys can follow me on all my social media at Peony and Honey. Peony is the flower. And I chose that name just because I thought it sounded sweet, and I love honey in tea. So I'm always drinking honey, or I'm always drinking tea with honey in it. So Peony and Honey just sounded like a cute name. I would love to have you guys over on my Instagram page, peonyandhoney.com. If you guys just want to find all my socials, they're all listed there. TikTok, Peony and Honey. And I will make sure that I get the product names for this, and I will send it over to Michael's. I will also post it on my page so that if you guys are looking to make something very similar to this guy, that you can do that. I will make sure that I do that for you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Oh, I was so nervous, and now I'm like so glad that it turned out as well as it did. So just thank you guys so much for coming. It really means more to me than I can tell you. So thank you very, very much. Do we have any last questions? Otherwise, I'll say adios.
Nope, you're good.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night. And thank you to Michael's for having me. Bye.